The third is going to be Japan. And just so you understand, here's a little map of the Pacific Ocean. If you don't know anything about this, here's Hawaii right there. So America itself is up over there, right? USA up over there. So on the other side of the Pacific Ocean then is the little tiny nation of Japan, all right? And we're going to come back to this little tiny nation in just a second. So Japan is suffering in the Great Depression just like everybody else is, and they say that the real problem here in Japan are the politicians that are hurting its emperor, Hirohito. And here's the argument that they have. You go back to 1857, and Japan is like it's living in the Middle Ages. It's like way back. Samurai, no industrial revolution. It's like somebody got to the year 1400 and hit a pause button. And there's no change until the 1850s when America rolls in. And America comes in, and America is the nation that opens up Japan with its black ships. Remember that Treaty of Kanagawa that we signed when we force our ships into Japan. And between 1850 in 1930, so one lifetime, just one lifetime, Japan becomes a fully modern country. Imagine all of the change that happens in 500 years between 1400 and 1900 in America getting smushed into just 80 years. And that change is really upsetting people. So when Japan is suffering in the Great Depression, people blame that on the change that happened. And they say it's the politicians that have made Japan a terrible place. And we need the emperor to rise up. And the emperor, Hirohito, knows that he has the devotion of his people. And he says, okay, I'm going to allow the military to restore order. I'm going to turn us over to our military. So the military establishes a dictatorship under a guy named Hideki Tojo. That's this dude up here that I circled, Hideki Tojo. Becomes prime minister, kind of like our president, in 1941. And he and the Japanese people have complete devotion to their emperor. And Japan says, and its military says that, look, we have a problem. We're a little tiny island. We don't have the resources that we need to have a huge, successful economy. The rest of the world has these giant empires, but not us. So we need to take over other places like this little part of China or maybe Korea in order for us to become a great power, in order for us to become better than we are under the worldwide Great Depression. So the military does a couple of things. Starts an arms race and a war with China in 1931, conquers much of China by 1937. So if you look at this map for Japan, World War II actually begins in 1931 because it contains not just this part of northern China or Korea, but it also has conquered all of these parts of China as well. So Japan really kind of expands itself before we even get involved. And then, in order to keep expanding, in 1941, it attacks Pearl Harbor. So we've got a fascist dictatorship, we've got a communist dictatorship, and we've got a military dictatorship.